So welcome for today's session on macros and macro processes. Already we discussed certain facts about the definition of the macro we discussed. Then how the macro looks like. So which our statements can appear inside the macro. All those details we discussed. Then we considered some example. That was the example which we had considered. So this is the name of the macro and there can be three variables here. In this example, there are three variables and then those three are the model statements. Macro, any macro definition starts with the keyword macro and ends with the keyword amend. Okay, so all those details we discussed. Then we were discussing about expansion of the macro. So that algorithm also we discussed. There are two types of parameters, positional parameters, where the position of the parameters is important. So here in the earlier macro, which we had declared INCR, this is the call for the macro. So obviously the first parameter in INCR macro will be replaced by the first actual parameter. The second parameter in the macro will be replaced by the second actual parameter. So mem val will be replaced by A, increment val will be replaced by B, range will be replaced by A range. So this is about the positional parameters. That's what we discussed. Then we also discussed the keyword parameters. Here, the position is not that important. So you can alter the position. You can change the position of the parameters. But how you write the body of the macro? So you are required to write inside the macro definition. You are required to write the equals to sign after the parameter. So if at all the parameter contains equals to sign, then it is treated as the keyword parameter. If the parameter does not contain equals to sign, then it is positional parameter. Okay, ampersand is there for all types of parameters. For both the types, the ampersand is essential. So here all the three parameters are keyword parameters. Now, you can give the call to the same macro like this or like this. So for the same macro, two different calls have been demonstrated. Now, this is possible because you are actually allocating for memval which parameter should be used. Actual parameter name you are passing A. So you can alter the position in both the things. You can see the you are saying memval equals to A here as well as over here. Because of this, you can have changed position. So that is the speciality of the keyword parameters. Keyword parameters use equals to sign. Here the position can be altered. So remember those two features. Then we discussed about the default specifications of the macro. So default value you can set for the macro. This is possible only in case of keyword parameters. Like here, you can see the this is the definition of the macro with keyword parameters, and the last parameter, as you can see, has been declared as the default. So range equals to A range. It means you are using A range as the default for range. Okay. Now those two are also the keyword parameters. Now, if you are specifying default values, what is permissible to you? If you are specifying default values, one thing is sure that you are using keyword parameters. Another thing is that you are allowed to make use of less number of parameters. Whatever number of parameters you have declared default, those many less parameters you are allowed to declare in the call. So here there are in all 3 parameters, and one out of which is declared as the default. So you are allowed to declare only 2 parameters in the call. If you are declaring 2 parameters in the call, then the third parameter, which is the default parameter, is automatically considered. Okay, so this is perfectly valid that actually the macro requires 3 parameters and you are passing 2 because you have set 1 parameter as default. So that is what is happening in the first 2 calls, and that is also showing you you can alter the sequence of the parameters. So this is allowed in case you are setting the default values. Now, what if you want to pass all 3 parameters? Yes, perfectly all right. Actually, if you want to make use of some other register, here in the default, you had used A range, but instead of A range, if you want to make use of B range, so you declare it in the call, you give it in the call, and this will be actually this is overriding. So this is the one which will be used. This will not be used. A range will not be used, but B range will be used. Okay, so that is how you are allowed to set default parameters using the keyword parameters. This is the macro which is showing you some other uses of parameters. It means that it is not necessary that you should use only in the second and the third column, that is in the register as the register operand or as the memory operand only the parameters whichever are coming. But this is telling you, this is showing you that ampersand op equals to mult. That is, you can also use for the mnemonics, you can use some parameters. Okay, so it means at runtime you can decide which at runtime, meaning whenever you are writing macro call, that time you have to decide which parameter you will be using. So which operation, depending upon which operation you are performing. So here I can use sub, here I can use div, any possible operation inside assembly language is allowed. So this is one more use of the parameter. Okay, now one more thing has been specified, that is ampersand lab equals to. So lab is label. So you can pass the parameter for the label column also. So the call, see here, what is the call? Calc a b lab equals to loop. So lab means the label. So the label equals to loop. It means that wherever lab is written inside the macro body, you replace it by loop. Okay, so it means that not only in those 2 columns, you, that is in the register column or in the memory operand column, you are allowed to make use of the parameters for the macro, but those also can be used anywhere in the program. Like it has been demonstrated, it can appear in the mnemonic field, it can appear as the label also. Okay, so that is what is demonstrated over here. Now this is the expansion of the macro. Plus, why plus we are writing? It is because whatever is the expansion, that those how to recognize which are the expanded statements. So because of the macro call, whatever statements are appearing, this is the macro call. This should be removed from the assembly program and it should be replaced by those 3 statements. So in place of calc, we are writing 3 statements. This is what is termed as expansion of the macro, and whatever is the expansion, we attach plus sign to each of the statement in the expansion. So that is what is the expansion of the macro. Okay. We can also have macros with mixed parameters. The one example is shown over here. When mixed parameters are used, all positional parameters must precede all keyword parameters. Okay, mixed means you want to make use of positional as well as the keyword parameters. So you are required to write the positional parameters first, and then you should write the keyword parameters. You can see over here, sum up is the name of the macro. You can have a, B as the positional parameters. There is no equals to sign, means this is the positional parameter. Those are, first two are the positional parameters. G and H are the keyword parameters. So the rule is positional parameters must precede all the keyword parameters. Okay. Here, this is shown. Actually, you will notice in the earlier example, earlier slide, we had used the same positional. First two were positional, the next two are keyword. Okay, so if at all you want to make use of both types of parameters, positional parameters should precede the keyword parameters. So this is shown over here, and the same thing has been demonstrated over here in this example. Okay, now is it possible to have nested macros? Yes, you can write nested macros. Just like you can write nested, means from one function, you can give call to another function. Okay, so the same thing is possible for the macros. A model statement in a macro may contain a call on another macro. A model statement in a macro may contain a call on another macro. Expansion of the nested macro calls follows the LIFO rule. Later on, we are going to see, actually here I am going to show you one example, but later on we will be discussing in details of the nested macros. Okay, so it uses the LIFO rule. LIFO means last in, first out. Okay, means obviously the operating system has to construct a stack for the maintenance, just like for the maintenance of the function calls. The LIFO rule is used in the same manner for the expansion of the nested macro calls. The LIFO rule is to be used, last in, first out. So innermost macro should be expanded first. Now here, macro compute ampersand first, ampersand second. So this is the macro prototype statement. Those two are the parameters which you are passing to the macro compute. Then move M, B range, temp. Okay, so this is one model statement. INCR, ampersand first, ampersand second, range equals to B range. The already which the macro which we discussed, INCR, suppose we are giving call to that macro INCR. So this is the definition of the macro, and inside the definition of the macro, you find another macro call. Inside the definition or inside the body of the macro, you find another call for the macro. So this is using ampersand first, ampersand second, range equals to B range. So move R, B range temp. This is yet another model statement, and the macro compute ends over here. Okay, so this kind of macro is termed as a nested macro. INCR ampersand mem val equals to ampersand increment val equals to ampersand range equals to a range. So for this macro, we can make use of any type of macro, any type of parameters. You can make use of positional parameters, you can make use of keyword parameters. Okay, so suppose we are using the keyword parameters, then the macro INCR will be declared like this: ampersand main val equals to ampersand increment val equals to ampersand range equals to a range. Okay, so those three are the model statements. It means that INCR contains three model statements. INCR contains three model statements. Now, actually, we are interested in expanding compute macro. Okay, compute, suppose we are giving call to compute with parameters x and y. See here, first and second. There are two parameters which we are passing, first, second. So those two should be replaced by x, y. Wherever first and second are appearing, we should replace those two by x and y. Now, actually, where is it appearing? It is appearing in INCR. Okay, so this should be, the call should be INCR x, y, range equals to b range. Okay. So compute macro will contain movem, brange, temp. This is the first statement from the compute macro, movem, brange, temp. So it is appearing as it is. Then we can have INCR XY. This is optional. If you are using the default value, you can omit it or you can specify whichever you want. Otherwise, the default will be considered. So suppose we are writing movem brange temp, then we are writing INCR XY, and then we are writing mover brange temp. You can see over here. Now, this statement should appear as it is in the final expansion. This also should appear as it is in the final expansion, because those two are the model statements. But then, so we are attaching plus plus sign. Okay. But remember, because it is LIFO, last in first out. So INCR is the last in macro call. So it should be expanded first. How it looks like? If you expand it, it will look like plus mover brange x plus add brange y plus movem brange x. Prior to this, in the final expansion of compute xy will consist of 5 statements plus movem brange temp, then plus plus. Now here there will be two plus signs, plus plus mover brange x plus plus add brange y plus plus movem brange x, and then will come the line plus mover brange temp. So that is the expansion for the compute macro. I'm just demonstrating how should it look like with the example. Okay. So actually how it is done inside, we are not talking much about it right now. We are just saying this statement should be replaced by the macro call should be replaced by the macro body statements. So the macro call is replaced by the macro body statements. Okay. So ultimately in compute XY, there will be 5 statements, one this, then 3 those things, and then one more this statement. So there will be 5 statements in the expansion of compute XY. Then today we will start learning some advanced macro facilities. Actually, how the expansion of the macro and the nested macro takes place, we will be discussing in the subsequent lectures. But today, let us first learn the advanced macro facilities. This we are doing first because once you understand the examples, then it will be better for you to understand how the postings in different tables are made. There are actually 9 tables of the macro, and the postings are to be made into those 9 tables. So to understand all those rules, let us first see some examples along with advanced macro facilities. So only some portion of this advanced macro facilities will be able to cover today. So what are the advanced macro facilities? Those facilities are aimed at supporting semantical expansion. Do you remember we discussed earlier there are two types of expansions. One is the lexical expansion and the other is the semantical expansion. So what is lexical expansion? Just replacing the formal parameters by the actual parameters. So that is lexical. And now what is semantical? You can see here now onwards, whatever examples, whatever things we will be discussing, those are demonstrating the semantical expansion. So these facilities can be grouped into three types. Facilities for alteration of flow of control during expansion. Facilities for alteration of flow of control during expansion. I hope you remember in assembly, we are having BC statement, branch conditionally. So branch conditionally statement can alter the flow of control. Otherwise, normally we are going in a sequential manner, whereas as soon as BC appears, so that it is obviously might be allowing us to jump to a particular label. So it is changing the path of execution. So also here, the facilities for alteration of flow of control during expansion. Now, how can the different facilities change the flow of control at the time of expansion? So those facilities we will be learning. Expansion time variables. Do you remember I had cited the example of factorial? In factorial, suppose you are writing factorial function, then inside factorial, so suppose I am passing n as the parameter to the factorial function. Remember, I am talking about the function and not about the macro. So suppose I am passing n, variable n, that is the value for which we are interested in finding out the factorial, that we are passing to the factorial function. Now, we will be having some loop inside the factorial function for I equals to 1 to n. So you might be multiplying every time. The result equals to actually whatever is the earlier result multiplied by I. Okay, so what is I? I happens to be the loop variable which is only declared inside the function. This is not actually appearing outside the function, but it is used to get the final answer for the factorial. So this is typically local to the function fact. Okay, factorial function, I will be the local variable. Same way, if you are interested in writing some macros, you can write, you will be having some macro body. So inside the macro body, you might be using some variables. We will be calling them as expansion time variables. So parallel to this I, whatever appears inside the macro body, all those variables which are not actually reflected in the expansion, but they are contributing something in the expansion. Those are termed as the expansion time variables. They appear only inside the macro body. Attributes of parameters. So the parameters can have different attributes. So there are three things. The facilities, advanced macro facilities can be grouped into three categories. Alteration of flow of control during expansion. So we will see the first one, facilities for alteration of flow of control during expansion. Now, if you want to change the flow of control, you can use different facilities, different features. So, two features are provided to facilitate alteration of flow of control. There are two facilities. One is expansion time sequencing symbols. Expansion time sequencing symbols. So what is a sequencing symbol? It is nothing but the label. I hope you understand what is label inside the assembly program, you are allowed to declare labels. Okay, so labels are used whenever you want to change the flow, for example, in BC statement. So the labels, okay, the similar thing, that is the labels inside the macro are termed as the sequencing symbols. The labels inside the macro, if you are writing the labels inside the macro, you cannot call them as labels, you will be calling them as sequencing symbols. A sequencing symbol SS has the syntax dot and ordinary string, any name you can give. Okay, so this is just that we are writing dot to recognize that it is appearing inside the macro. So SS is defined by writing it in the label field in the macro body. Okay, inside the macro, if at all the labels are appearing inside the macro body, if the labels are appearing, we are calling them as the sequencing symbols. Okay, and we are using the syntax dot and ordinary string. So this means any name preceded by a dot. Okay, so if at all that dot appears, it means you are inside the macro body and you are using the labels. SS means you are using the labels. So the first facility to alter the flow of control is expansion time sequencing symbols, that you can make use of labels inside the macro body, which we are calling as the sequencing symbols. The other thing, what is the second facility? Expansion time statements, for example, AIF, AGO, ANOP. Okay, so there are three different facilities now. Expansion time statements, three different types of statements you can write inside the advanced macro facilities for the alteration of flow of control. So the first one is AIF statement. Now the syntax is AIF, some expression followed by the sequencing symbol. Remember, this is same as the if statement in the advanced languages. Okay, if statement. So what we write for the if statement, if some condition, some expression, then jump to the specified position. So this is the label. Okay, so the same thing, some expression, AIF. Now, why we are using A? It is because the if statement appearing inside the macro body is termed as AIF and not if, AIF. Okay. Expression is nothing but the relational expression with ordinary string, formal parameters, and their attributes. Then the second thing can appear is the AGO statement, AGO. Now here also, this is same as the go-to statement or go statement of the advanced languages. Okay, so because it is appearing inside the assembly, not assembly, inside the macro body, we are attaching AGO. We are attaching A to that geo. So it becomes AGO. Just like here we are attaching A, prefix is A. Same here, prefix is A. So AGO. Now AGO sequencing symbol, just like we write in the higher level languages, go to label. So here also inside the macro body, you can make use of AGO sequencing symbol. Sequencing symbol, I told you, nothing but the label. So go to the label, specified position. Okay, now this has to be inside the macro body itself. Okay, cannot jump to the outside position. ANOP. NOP is a typical statement which appears inside the assembly language. So NOP means no operation. Inside the macro body, if it appears inside the assembly language, we are calling it as NOP. I think in the assembly or advanced assembly, which you learned in electronics or so, you might have used NOP, NOP. If you are writing that NOP inside the macro body, A is prefixed, so it becomes ANOP. Sequencing symbol ANOP. So jump it from somewhere, you'll be jumping to this position, but for this particular line, we are not performing any operation. So it is ANOP. Okay, so try to understand what we are learning. Advanced macro facilities. Inside advanced macro facilities, we are learning alteration of flow of control. Alteration of flow of control. There are two facilities, expansion time sequencing symbol, and this is nothing but the labels inside the macro body. And the second facility is expansion time statement. So you are allowed to write those three statements inside the macro or inside the macro body, AIF, AGO, ANO. So those will appear, those can appear inside the macro body. Okay, so those three statements are termed as expansion time statements. Now the second facility. We will just learn up to this particular thing. See here. Expansion time variables. Okay, the first facility was facilities for alteration of flow of control during expansion. We discussed about that. There are two different things, sequencing symbols and three statements, expansion time statements, AIF, ANOP, and AGO. Now, expansion time variables. Okay, so today we will just finish up to expansion time variables, because for this we will be considering several examples later. So up to expansion time variables. Expansion time variables, EVs, we call them as EV, expansion time variables, are variables which can only be used during the expansion of macro calls. I told you inside factorial function I is declared, so it was totally local to the function factorial or fact. So also you can declare some variables inside the macro. Those are termed as expansion time variables. Now how to declare those variables? LCL. This statement declares local variable, EV specification. LCL, EV specification. EV means the expansion time variable. So you can write LCL M. M becomes EV, expansion time variable. LCL X. X becomes expansion time variable. Okay. Now you can have multiple such expansion time variables. Remember, this whatever has been put into the square bracket is optional. So you can have just one variable expansion time or multiple variables. The syntax is LCL followed by the names of the variables. Okay. GBL, global variables you can declare. EV specification, one or more, same whatever is the syntax for this LCL, same is the syntax for GBL. Okay. Now what is EV specification? It consists of name. Remember, always everything is preceded by ampersand. Inside the macro, whatever you write, whatever variables you write, all are preceded, say it is formal parameter or expansion time variable, it is preceded by ampersand. Okay. So EV name, EV specification will consist of ampersand EV name, where EV name is an ordinary string, means any name of your choice. EV specification, okay, appears in the label field. EV specification, where should it appear? In the label field. Set is another statement. Remember, to declare the expansion time variables, we are using either LCL. LCL means local, GBL means global. Okay, so local or global. So those two, once you declare some variable using LCL or GBL, it becomes the expansion time variable. Now, if you want to assign some value to those expansion time variables, how to assign the value? So the syntax is EV specification set expression. Okay, so where EV specification, that is M, suppose M, I declared LCL M, then M set, I can put 0 or any other value of my choice. So where should I write EV? This should appear in the label field. Then this set statement should appear in the mnemonic field column. Okay, I hope you remember we are having 4 columns. At the most 4 words are possible in our advanced assembly. Okay, so at the most 4 words, the first word is the label. The second word has to be the mnemonic. The third word will be the register operand, and the fourth one will be the memory operand. Okay, so at the most 4 words. So there are 4 columns to write those 4 words. Now where should this name of the expansion time variable appear? It should appear in the label field. Okay, the very first column. This set command should appear in the mnemonic field. There is a spelling mistake over here, in the mnemonic field column. Okay, and the next column, set expression, should appear. Okay, so I think we will see one example. Macro constants. Okay, so this is telling the macro processor that after this statement the macro is coming. Okay, constants is the name of the macro. It is the prototype statement. Fine. There are no parameters. Remember, there are no parameters. It is optional to have the parameters. Okay, so for this macro, there are no parameters. LCL ampersand A. So what I am doing? Local A. A becomes the expansion time variable. Ampersand A set 1. So I am setting the value of A to 1. Value of A I am setting to 1. Just we discussed about LCL and GBL. So we are using LCL over here, which is used to declare the expansion time variable. Set is used to set the value of any of the expansion time variables. So that variable should appear in the label column. This should appear in the mnemonic column, and this should appear in the third column. Okay, DB. Now this statement we had not come across till now. DB indicates declare byte. Okay, declare byte. So declare byte, just like DS and DC we are having inside the assembly language. DS, declare storage, which is used to declare the variables, and DC is used to declare a constant. So DB ampersand A. So we are declaring a storage, declare a byte to hold A. Okay. Now ampersand A set ampersand A plus 1. You are incrementing, you are storing that into 1 byte. Then you are incrementing its value to A plus 1. Whatever was its earlier value, you are incrementing it to the next value. So it becomes 2. DB ampersand A. Now this is going to declare the declare byte 1, and this will be writing declare byte 2. Okay, so two values, 2 constants are declared, and then the end statement. So we will see what this constants macro is doing. A call on macro constants is expanded as follows. The local expansion time variable A is created. This is created because of LCL. Okay. First, set statement assigns value 1 to it. So set statement will be assigning, making A equals to 1. The first DB statement thus declares a byte constant. I told you in place of DC, we are using byte constant, that is DB. Okay, declare a byte, which byte or byte constant 1. Now it will declare a byte constant 1. So this statement is going to declare a byte constant 1. A set A plus 1. Now value of A becomes 2. And then we are declaring byte constant, one more byte constant, that is 2. So the second set statement assigns the value 2 to A, and the second DB statement declares a constant 2. So what this macro is doing, the constants macro is declaring two byte constants 1 and 2. It is declaring an expansion time variable A, setting some value to A, say 1. So whichever value you are setting, that value will be declared as a byte constant in the byte constant. So DB declares a byte or byte constant for A. It means declare byte 1 or declare byte constant 1. So it will declare 1 as the constant for the macro. This one will increment, this set segment will increment this constant by 1. It becomes 2. It increments this variable. Actually, expansion time variable value is incremented over here. Remember, whatever you have declared as a constant will not be incremented, but what is incremented, A will be incremented. So A becomes A plus 1, means it becomes 2. And then you are declaring second byte constant 2. So this macro declares two byte constants 1 and 2. Okay. So DB is used to declare the byte constants, that is the constants inside the macro. That is how we have used LCL, set and DB statements. Okay. So just remember the usages of those three statements. I told you that we'll be finishing up to expansion time variables. So this is how we are declaring expansion time variable. You can have either LCL or GBL. Then you can increment its value or you can set its value using set statement. Okay. And then DB is used to declare a byte constant. So here we have seen two of the facilities from the advanced macro. The first two facilities we have discussed. So I think here we should end for today's session.